The roots of Wajackoyah, and that is on the front page of the Daily Nation, is the joker in the park with a shadowy past in the special branch and a platform of narcotics and the export of hyena testicles and a dress code that includes a durag. His manifesto is full of unreasoned policy proposals and crazy populism. And even the three-bedroom state house he is building back home stands as a monument to his rich list of contradictions. That is on page 2 and 3 of the Daily Nation. Still on the front page, more pressure for parents as schools reopen for new term. Well, schools will be opening for the second term of the 2022 academic year tomorrow in what promises to be a challenging time for learners, teachers and parents, as the lingering effects of the pandemic ravage the structures of basic education for the third year running. All right, so let's get to the second page. And of course, like I said, the second and third page are all about Wajackoyah, and that is one of the presidential contenders. And this is a report that was done by the Daily Nation, where they went to his home, back home, and of course, looking at where he came from. And it talks about the presence of the homestead in Wajackoyah's home, and indeed the village has bolstered the celebratory air around the Wajackoyah's presidential candidacy. And of course, rarely is a uniformed police officer's presence ever felt there. But so that's quite a significant move for them. I don't know, maybe I'll get my comments from the panelists. We've heard so much about Wajackoyah, the wave of Wajackoyah, and we've seen his popularity rating actually shooting up. But then you also have this very unconventional policies and, agendas in his manifesto. Prof, what do you think of Wajackoyah and of course, his candidacy for the presidential race?
Yeah, Zana, we know everybody runs for very many different reasons. So first of all, we have to start analyzing that. Why is Wajackoyah running? And the second thing is, why are people really warming up to him? Traditionally, when you're looking at the two leading candidates, that is Raila Amolo Odinga and Ruto, they are going to be guarded about making some very, let's say, not too controversial statements, being very conservative, because they know how government works, what the community is expecting of them. But Wajackoyah presents some kind of comic relief to the people who are listening to it, because when you listen to Ruto, even if you look at manifesto that Ruto launched, the Kenya Kwanza, it looks very similar to what Raila launched. You look at what Agenda 4 looks like. So this is like a comic relief by coming with things like a very strange, like narcotics, coming with things like sale of hyena testicles. So he's offering comic relief. Unfortunately, there's some Kenyans seems to be warming up to that and enjoying his. And that's why popularity is rising. Some people are saying, where is the option? Always in politics, since I was born, they always think about what is the alternative. So you look at Raila, you look at Ruto, don't look too different because they know government, but Wajackoyah is the opposite of the two. And that's why you see his popularity can be rising. But if you look at what he's proposing... But
some would say he's arguably probably one of the most learned among the presidential contenders. So he has certainly, I don't know, I believe about 16 degrees, and he's quite learned. So he probably has an understanding, although he has these unconventional policies and agendas, that perhaps there is something to it.
Yeah, but you see, learning, the learning, let's say educated. There's the difference between, my dear colleague here is telling, there's a difference between being educated and being learned. Educated he is, so those are the degrees. But being learned is, how do you apply what he has as a degree to what he's actually proposing?
Right.
How much logic does it make?
Okay. Philip, your take on the same.
Thank you very much. I think, as my friend has said, is one of the epitomes of comic relief. And I think if there will be some break in this politics, you will provide some humor. But going by what you have said that is learned, I think we teach at the university with my friend here, and such weird policies and manifestos, I think they'll never find room in this country, because Wajackoyah is just running because maybe in the qualifications of becoming president, you need to be above 35.
Yes. And
you need to be having an ID, and as such is just filling space. In science, you remember we used to have what we call matter, anything that has weight and occupies space. So we have the 50 presidential candidates that had appeared to,
The
to offer
aspirants.
themselves
Right.
to be president, but I think he's among the lucky ones who made it to the list. So I think it comes.
Right.
About the 16 degrees, I think for me, I think if you have gone to school and you still provide such policies, I think there is a problem. So I think we need to really interrogate, because really when you come up with such weird, there are some things you cannot talk here during the day, where I come from. There's some aspects here, like when you talk about hyena testicles, God forbid, you can't even talk about them during the day.
Okay.
Yeah.